Welcome back to All About Alcohol. Today we will talk about distillation part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, then link is given in description for you. So let's get started. Before we start with the method, I want to tell you most important part, which is head, heart, and tail of the distillation process. In distilling parlance, the compound in the wash that are not ethyl or water are called congeners. Some congeners, such as acetaldehyde, methanol, and certain esters, have lower boiling points than ethanol. This means the lower boiling congeners come out in high concentration at the beginning of a batch distillation run, and the higher boiling point one come out in high concentration toward their end of the run, leaving ethyl and most desirable compound as the most abundant components during the middle of the run. When distillation takes place in a batch still, the distillate that comes out is divided into 3 fractions called heads, hearts, tails. Method of distillation. There are 5 still in which methods of distillation happens. 1. Pot still. 2. Patent still, or continuous still. 3. Gooseneck still. 4. Moonshine still. 5. French Charentise alambic still. Let's talk about each still in details. Pot still. It is a rounded pot with funnel at the top, where rising vapors are collected, and then carried to the condenser through a tube, which cools it and convert it into droplets of alcohol. Patent still, or continuous still. This type of still is used for producing enormous volumes of spirit in a continuous operation that runs constantly for up to 11 months straight before it is shut down for cleaning and overhauling. They commonly have a fractionating column that stands about 100 feet, 30.5 meter high, and a series of bubble caps spaced every couple of feet up the column. The trays are farther apart, near the bottom, and get closer together towards the top. It has no pot or kettle per se, and it is heated by blasting steam upwards from the bottom of the column while the wash is continuously fed into a tray at the middle of the column. As the wash runs down through the rays of the column, it encounters the hot steam, which vaporizes the compounds in the washing tin and carries them up the column. The lower boiling compounds continue to rise up the column while the higher boiling ones condense and carry down the column. The column has an exit valve at every tray, where vapor can be drawn off and led to condenser. This enables their operators to configure the system so certain trays lead to a condenser that goes to the head's receivers. Another set of tray can be sent to the heart's receiver, and other trays can be sent to the tail's receiver. What flows to the bottom of the column is residue that is sent to the drain. Goose neck still. The goose neck pot still is the most common design of still used to produce Scottish malt whisky, some Irish whiskies, and a number of American and Canadian whiskies are also distilled in this type of still. This style of pot still has been in use for centuries for commercial whiskey production, and it is even more popular today in modern whiskey distilleries than ever. The gooseneck still has a large round kettle, and functionally very similar to the crude pot still, except it has a long, board neck rising from the kettle that allows enough separation to hold back most of the fusel alcohols from the distillate, while retaining the desired flavors in the finished spirit. Moonshine still. The most basic and rudimentary design is a crude pot still, or moonshine still, which is a closed pot, like a pressure cooker, with a pipe leading from the lid into the condenser coil. The condenser coil can either be long enough to air cool a vapor, or it can be shorter and immersed in a water jacket. Such still affords minimum separation of the vapors, because there is almost no separation once they leave the kettle. although this design of still is not suitable for producing beverage alcohol by modern standards. French Charentaise Alembic still. This type of still is used almost exclusively for making brandy, including cognac, Armagnac, Calvados, and other famous French brandies. It is designed especially to leave a lot of the aromatics and flavors in the distillate, and is therefore one of the lower separation beverage alcohol still. Because of this quality, spirits are usually distilled twice in a French Charentaise Alembic still. Whiskey can also be made in this design of still. It is functionally quite similar to the gooseneck still, but it creates a lower level of separation, making a richer and creamier tasting whiskey, but with a little more fusel alcohol. The French Charentaise Alembic still has three major components: the kettle with helmet, the preheater, and the condenser. The helmet is the chamber just above the kettle, and it serves as an expansion chamber, which works well to hold back a lot of the heavier compound, such as fusel alcohol and furfurols, while allowing the desirable aromatics and flavors to be carried over into their distillate. Now the topic for today ends here. I hope you learned something new today. If you have any questions regarding distillation, feel free to contact me on given links below. I will be happy to help you out. Our next topic will be fermentation and show details on fermented beverage. See you in next video. Thank you for watching the video and supporting us in our journey. If you find our video informative, then do subscribe, like, and share.